Hey Dragon Slayers! Today's video is about low breast milk supply, PCOS, which stands for Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, and their connections to insulin resistance. So, breast milk supply, when looked at independently of any effect on the baby's development or the mother's health, maternal insulin can also affect the mother's ability to nurse. A 2000 study of mothers with gestational diabetes revealed that women with the worst insulin resistance were likely to have the lowest milk supply. Interestingly enough, if a new mother has a problem breastfeeding, she also has a stumbling block to the built in solution for improving her insulin resistance. Breastfeeding is an effective method of increasing the mother's postnatal insulin sensitivity. So, having insulin resistance could make it more difficult to take advantage of a natural way to reverse the insulin resistance of pregnancy. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, also known as PCOS, is the most common cause of female infertility, affecting approximately 10 million women worldwide. As the name suggests, the ovaries are affected, the women become burdened with cysts, resulting in highly painful ovaries that grow to several times their normal size. At its very core, PCOS is a disease of too much insulin, an inseparable and causal factor. As mentioned earlier, female fertility is an elaborate orchestration of hormones. In the first part of a woman's menstrual cycle, her estrogen levels are low. A small but important part of the brain, called the hypothalamus, sends a signal to the pituitary gland, also located in the brain, which then releases uh, follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH. FSH tells the few follicles in the ovaries to develop into mature eggs. One of the eggs becomes dormant and the follicles mature. They send a massive increase in estrogens from the ovaries, which tells the hypothalamus and the pituitary there's an egg ready for release. The pituitary gland then releases luteinizing, I could be pronouncing that wrong, hormone, or LH. This surge in LH causes the dominant mature egg to emerge through the ovary, and this is called ovulation. With ovulation, hormone signals goes to the remaining developing ovary is the and the eggs and cause their degradation. And they subsequently disappear from the ovaries. Did you follow all of that? As mentioned previously, it's complicated. Ultimately, what's important to know is that the process of allowing one egg to become dominant and eventually be ovulated is governed by specific hormone fluctuations. If these waves of hormones are disrupted in any way, it creates a huge problem. So, how exactly is insulin involved in this process? Well, the ovaries, like every tissue, respond to insulin. Perhaps one of the more unexpected ways they do so is by inhibiting estrogen production. All estrogens were once androgens. During production, an enzyme called aromatase converts androgens, which are male hormones such as testosterone, into estrogens, or female hormones. This process occurs in both men and women, but too much insulin inhibits aromatase. Sorry. As the enzyme's actions are dialed down, androgens fail to convert the estrogens at the necessary levels. Production becomes lower than normal, and the androgens become higher than normal. Estrogens have countless effects throughout the body. One of the main ones involved in women is their role in their menstrual cycle. As we just saw, production of estrogen increases dramatically around the midway throughout the cycle. The spike in estrogen signals the brain, which increases the level of LH production. resulting in ovulation and eventually degradation of the other developing eggs. If this mid cycle estrogen bump doesn't happen, owing to insulin resistance, ovulation doesn't happen, and the ovaries retain and accumulate the egg. Beyond its effect on estrogens, insulin may also directly act on the brain to block normal LH production. LH production usually comes in pulses, periods of increase then decrease production. Insulin appears to prevent this pattern, which may disrupt normal fertility. Insulin's effects on sex hormones go far beyond fertility issues. With PCOS, relatively fewer androgens are being converted to estrogen, resulting in high estrogen levels. Higher androgens can lead to more and coarser facial and body hair and male pattern baldness in women. Last, high insulin alone, independent of sex hormones, often increases the presence of dark skin patches called anthroscosis nigersons. I'm sorry, these are very technical terms, and we'll describe that later on. A common feature of PCOS. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. And remember, guys, that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.